big time trades in the NFL. One that I'm drooling over, the other one not so much. I'm just happy that we own this quarterback. Well, my team, that is, owned this quarterback while he was in the NFC East. Russell Wilson has been traded to the Denver Broncos. And the question around the world is, does this move make the AFC West the toughest division in football? Now, you have Derek Carr. You have Justin Herbert. Now you have Dangeruss Russell Wilson. 4 teams with quarterbacks at least in the top 10. The thing is that we know that going all in works.
You've heard of hot takes, and you're probably tired of hearing the same old talking heads repeating the same stuff over and over again. The time has come for the game to evolve, and just like in sports, there are a select number of individuals who are leading the evolution of change and pushing the game forward. This isn't just a sports podcast. This podcast is about how life, culture, and sports all meet at one intersection. This is the new wave. This is the new sound. This is the evolution. This is the Notes by Notes podcast, where we discuss life, culture, and sports.
It is time for the 20th edition of season 3 of Notes by Notes podcast. I'm Jay. That's AP. What is good? My homie AP.
What's good, Jay? And yes, sir. It's 20, man. I feel like we just had a kid graduate college.
I know.
It's a big deal. Happy 20th, my brother. Happy 20th.
Happy 20th. Actually, I was going to compare that to like the 21st birthday. You know what I'm saying? Like reaching that milestone, you're like, oh, yo, I'm like officially an adult. So, y'all, we're officially an established podcast.
Yeah, we grown over here.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
Grown ass podcast right now we dealing with.
Grown ass Debo type. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. How you been, Jay?
Gosh, hey, I'm good. I'm good. You know how I rock. You know, I'm always good, always positive, blessed and highly favored. Happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? So I cannot complain. But before we get started with the 20th edition of Notes by Notes, let me tell you about our good friends over at A to Z for Skin and Hair. They offer a bevy of hair and skin products that have no preservatives and are made with love, like their rice water, their moisturizing hair butter, their rapid growth, and their Gang Gang beard oil. I am upset to report, by the way, I got the chin strap now. I messed up my beard while cutting my hair. That's a story for another day. But again, A to Z for Skin and Hair. Give them a call at 469-674-5567. Once again, that's 469-674-5567. Yeah, crazy thing, AP. I was cutting my hair yesterday, and everything's right. Like I don't have on the do-rag because I messed up my hair. I got it on because I'm trying to keep the waves going. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But on the side is what got me. I was trying to trim, and then next thing you know, I said, no.
The beard, thin that thing out.
Yeah. The beard is no more for 2022. Plus, it's almost summertime. So, your boy is waiting until the fall to grow that sucker back out. So, this may stay. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Ladies and gentlemen, drop that thing in the comments. Do y'all want Babyface Jay? Y'all want Babyface Jay?
My wife would kill me if I shave off all of it. She would be like, yo, what is wrong with you?
Whose nephew is this?
Is this even my husband? Like, oh my God, man. Oh my God. So
hilarious.
We're ready for the 20th edition of Notes by Notes. AP, it's time for our favorite segment of the week.
Mailbag. Man, this bag is heavy today. Hold on, give me 1 second. This bag is, we got some weight in the bag today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for your submissions. We're going to hop right into it because we got a show for y'all today. All right, so hopping in the mailbag. First submission we got from our boy Andre P. out of Austin. He wants to know, will the Lakers make the playoffs or not? And will LeBron's knee injury continue to affect him going forward at his age?
AP, to be honest with you, at this point with the Los Angeles Lakers, and we'll get to that, I think, a little bit more in the show, more in depth. But to answer Andre's question, and appreciate you, bro. Shout out to the Soto Zone, by the way. Appreciate you, my brother, for submitting the mailbag submission. But back to the Lakers. So, in my opinion, the Lakers, everything LeBron James touches, in my opinion, is self-inflicted. Everything. Just go back to 2016 with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The reason why, no, not 2016, because that's the year that they won, but when they faced the Warriors the first time, self-inflicted. He went back with no players, right? He was like, I'm going back. We made it to the championship, but we couldn't beat the Warriors. Okay, cool. Just like here, this is self-inflicted. It's self-inflicted because he's the one who recommended that they put this type of roster together. He said that he wanted older pieces, so that way he had experience versus youth. But now we are starting to see that having all that experience in a new NBA isn't worth much. This isn't like LeBron playing for Miami where Dwayne Wade taught him how to win. This is a completely different type of ball game here, because back then Dwayne Wade was kind of like the guard of the NBA to some degree, at least in the Eastern Conference. LeBron James joined him to learn how to win and win his first championship. So LeBron tried to do the same thing with the Lakers. Unfortunately, LeBron James is not a player who could take over an entire game anymore and carry a team on his back. He needs some help. So he did all this stuff to himself. Russell Westbrook, he did to himself. He did all of it to himself. Dwight Howard did to himself. You know what I'm saying? Got rid of Kyle Kuzma, a good two-way player, by the way. Said, nah, I'm good. So, I mean, that's my take on it. And if it affects his age going forward, I do not think so.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna side with you on that. And yeah, Dresky, good question, man. Thank you for that submission, because this is the talk of the town, honestly, right now. A lot of people, it's a lot of buzz around the Lakers and their thwarted attempt at a veteran-heavy, success, right? They were looking for this dream team. They were looking to get that big three back, like the old school style, like when they was making those super teams. This is not the super team that they had anticipated. And I hate to report, they are currently sitting around number 9 in the Western Conference. And I mean, even to go into the play-in tournament, they still got to win, 2 or 3 games before they actually make it to the tournament. They got about 17 games here coming up. Out of the next 17, they only got 6 at home. Ooh. They got big road trips. I don't know. I think it's going to be tough for them to even really be a part of this conversation. They will see the Suns twice and the Warriors again in this next upcoming trail that they're about to go until the end of into the actual season. Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle for the Lakers for sure. And LeBron's knees. That's why you needed them young legs on the team. You got rid of all of them because yours, my boy, not young no more.
Oh, man, that's a good take.
All right. Thanks again, Dre. All right. Second submission coming from our guy, Rick, out of Round Rock. Round Rock, Rick. I like that. Yeah. Change all your social media to that and thank me later. What do you think should happen? What do you think should happen to Cain Velasquez? Will he serve out his sentence for attempted murder, or will he have a reduced sentence due to his celebrity status?
So if you're not familiar with this story, people out there listening, this is about the MMA fighter, former MMA champion who actually almost killed someone because I believe there was some type of sexual harassment done towards his daughter. I'm not too privy to exactly what it was, but I do know that it was to a serious or severe extent. That's why he reacted the way that he reacted. Now, Do I think that this will affect his celebrity or his jail sentencing will affect his his celebrity status will have something to do with his jail sentencing? Yes, I do. Look at every professional athlete. They have a level of leniency. Not all of them, but most of them don't get the book thrown at them. So I think he gets out of this. I just pray for the guy, whoever did wrong towards his daughter or whoever the female family member is in his life. And I just pray for that person. And I pray that Cain Velasquez just, tries to stay out of trouble from this point forward. But I do think that his celebrity status will have a lot to do with his jail sentence.
That can go 50-50 for me. Right now in the current age, there's been a lot of, examples being made. I mean, look at our boy Jesse. Jesse just got 150 days for committing a crime against his damn self. So
yeah,
who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen with Cain? You know what I'm saying? But I mean, realistically, I think the biggest thing that we have to look at is not just the fact that he's a celebrity or an athlete, but the sport that he's in. I mean, he's a licensed fighter.
Right.
And one thing that I do know is that when you become a licensed fighter and your hands become registered, that it's a whole different ball game. So I do know that he may be playing on a completely different set of rules. I had a good friend in high school who got into a fight, and he was a professional boxer, and it almost ruined his life, and that was in 11th grade. So I do know that there are some different stipulations when it comes to fighters, just because of, literally he probably was just trying to tussle with the boy and almost killed him. So who knows? But definitely, like you said, prayers to everybody involved. It's never good when people's kids are being impacted.
For sure. And, also I forgot to add as well, AP, this incident wasn't like, honestly, this guy, Cain Velasquez, should be applied, in my opinion. Not for the attempted murder part, but for staking his claim and saying, this is not going to happen to anybody in my family. I don't care who it is. I get the law is what the law is, but also there is a law against messing with minors. So, or even just women in general. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you have to treat women with respect. You just can't do what you want to do. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, regardless of the situation that he is in, I 100% believe that he is in his right to do what he did. That's just me.
As they say on Shrek, it's layers like an onion.
I'm gonna take it to another level. You remember that Key and Peele skit? Another level.
All right. Last submission. Thanks again, Round Rock Rick. We look forward to more submissions from you. That was a good one. All right. Our very own Notes by Notes on. K. Kelly. What's going on, man? Thanks for dipping in the bag with us. I wish you was here to read it, but I'm gonna go ahead and read it on your behalf. Can we talk about Green Bay financing their future to sign Rodgers? I'm gonna let you handle this one,
okay?
Because this is your bag right here, and this is you.
This is
so
me.
Talk about it. Talk about it, Jay. Is Green Bay financing their future to sign Rodgers?
I mean, to an extent, yes, they are. Because this deal that he just signed was for 4 years, $200 million. But also, if you know the game of NFL contracts, you understand that teams typically sneak in some voidable years in those contracts, especially when you have a player that's unhappy. You look at Tom Brady whenever he was leaving New England. What did the Patriots do? It was kind of like when LeBron was in Cleveland. He was taking 1-year deals. He wasn't signing Supermax deals. In this scenario, everybody sees 4 years, $200 million. What Green Bay sees is 2 years, $60 million guaranteed, and then after those 2 years, we could draft a quarterback or we could trade for one and we're done with it. So I don't think that they're financing the future. I think the teams always plan ahead and they have a strategy to restructuring their roster and also restructuring players' contracts. In no way, form, or fashion do I believe that they kind of cut their legs from underneath themselves in this. Actually, I feel like they created leverage for themselves. So, I mean, will they have trouble signing big-time free agents? I mean, you got to remember that they signed Aaron Jones last year. Devontae Adams is going to be franchise tag. I mean, they have Dillon in the backfield, who was a draft pick. I mean, they have weapons that are still young and players that you don't have to sign right now. So I don't think it's going to cripple them in any way. I think that they're being strategic here and making the right move for their future versus financing way their future.
That's a fair take. I like that. I'm going to leave that there. I mean, I got minor opinions, but I mean, I think I can't break it down nowhere near as good as you just did. So I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. All right, y'all. That's been our mailbag. Thank you, Dre. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, K-Dot, for your submissions. And ladies and gentlemen, we here every week. Drop those submissions in the comments, slide in our DMs, however you want to do it, but get in that bag.
Hey, it was busy this week, AP.
We had options, ladies. That's what I'm talking about.
I put the post out there. I was like, yo, what happened? Thank you guys for your support, by the way. We really do appreciate it. We're trying to get those numbers up. It's not all about views. It's not all about likes. But we do love what we do, and we want you guys to support that. So, you know, we appreciate those mailbag submissions, Rick, Andre, and K-Dot. Big time shout out to our very own K-Dot and all his endeavors that he's handling right now. So super happy for him, and glad to hear from him. So AP, while we were off for that week, by the way, I apologize. The lost episode, for some reason, the video wasn't grabbed. So I was like trying to find the lost episode, and it really is lost. For real, it's lost.
Never to be seen again.
Never to be seen again. So, I mean, I couldn't put that out there. But while we were off during that week, some trades went down in the NBA, and then there were some trades in the NFL that went down this week. So the first one I want to talk about is wild because these two teams faced off on Thursday night, and the Brooklyn Nets got the best of the Philadelphia 76ers. I think like a 25, 26-point lead. Victory, good one, with James Harden on the floor. I mean, not a lot of teams can do that, but James Harden and Ben Simmons got their wish. Harden was traded to the Sixers, in exchange for Simmons, Seth Curry, and other assets. And what we want to talk about is who will win this trade eventually. And AP, this is your bag. Like you told me that the other one was mine. This is your bag right here. I know when you saw this trade come through, you had to be excited about the potential of what the Eastern Conference is going to be in the future just because of how dispersed this talent is in the Eastern Conference Finals. So what's your take on this?
Honestly, I think that specifically the James Harden, Ben Simmons trade, I think that it was good for the players. I don't know how good it was for the teams.
Yeah.
The 76ers definitely can benefit from a healthy and energized James Harden. I mean, he initially had a good burst. That I want to say the very first game that he had with them before playing the Nets. And the Nets versus 76ers, that was not a good game. So that really leads to question like the point of it all. Simmons not even really playing right now, so it's not like the Nets really gained much right there for that trade. But I think that Harden is definitely a good piece for the 76ers. I don't think that it's going to be anything where we're going to be looking in the long run like, man, remember that day back in March when they made that trade? It led us to this moment. I don't think that we're going to look back and say that. But, I mean, there was a lot of, I don't know, there was a lot of movement there. I think that out of the two teams who would probably benefit the most, I'm going to say that the 76ers are probably going to benefit the most by acquiring Harden. Just because the Nets are so stacked anyway. They got so much talent. They're second, in my opinion, in terms of overall talent, as far as like, the super team concept to the Lakers. You know what I'm saying? They had the same idea, but a better version of it. They have a few younger players involved in that, in the building of their team versus what the Lakers has. That's why they're able to see a little bit more success, especially where we are right now. The entire first half of the season, already done and gone with. These last 3 to 4 weeks of basketball that we're about to see are the most important of the entire season heading into the playoffs. So I think that they made the trade at the best time possible, but I do think that the 76ers are probably going to have the best overall outcome from the benefit, as far as the benefit of the trade.
You know what? I agree with you on that, because one thing that I know that works in the NBA is chemistry. And we're at a crucial point, like you said, in the season right now. This is the final stretch. And what the Nets aren't building with their newly acquired star, Ben Simmons, is chemistry. This move was made for next year. And who knows what Kyrie Irving is going to do next year? Who knows what KD wants to do next year?
Who knows what Simmons is going to do next year?
Exactly. Everybody in the NBA is fickle right now. Even LeBron James has fickle feelings. You know what I mean? So, in my opinion, I do feel like the Sixers won this trade because Doc Rivers got a superstar player to go along with another superstar player. James Harden, Joel Embiid is like, that's a big-time duo. Then you got Tobias Harris, who could still shoot it from the outside. You had depth on your bench. That is important right now. The Nets, the only thing they got out the deal that I thought was amazing, Seth Curry. That's it.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I forgot to mention him. That would be the biggest flaw of the deal. I cannot believe that the Sixers let him go. He literally led them as far as they went for the last 2 seasons into the playoffs. It was because of Seth Curry and his consistency. He's probably one of the most consistent shooters outside of his brother. And it can't be scoffed at. He's a really good player overall. I mean, he doesn't get the same shine because he's not Steph Curry, and he's always going to be like that little brother. Nobody's ever going to give him his just dues until he wins a championship or leads a team to it. But I think that was the biggest L for the 76ers in the entire deal. So I wish they would have kept him and made it work with all of them, with James Harden. But man, that would be the L for me, for sure.
Oh man, it's a big L. It's a big L, and the Nets are going to have to sit on I know that the Sixers gave up Seth Curry, but Seth Curry cannot be on that roster and propel that team. He could be a nice piece, but he's not James Harden, and you know he could shoot lights out, but that's not what's going to always win you games now. Go ahead, AP. My bad.
No, that's my bad. And you know how Kyrie is. He does not like to share that spotlight when it comes down to being the man that's moving the ball. And that I think that might raise some conflict. Every single time he has to be in a position to where he's not the number one guy, like we see conflict, we see friction. So I'm wondering who's going to make it into next year with the Nets with this change. I think that this is not going to be the end of the changes that the Nets are going to be making.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to trade away a lot of assets going into the offseason, in my opinion. If they don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, something has to change. And that's just bottom line, because you have the Sixers, you have the Bucks. I mean, these teams are tough. I mean, the Nets are supposed to be number one, but you still got to go through the Bucks and now the Sixers. I mean, the Pacers can be tough too. I mean, some of these Eastern Conference teams can play. So, you know, it's – I think this. I agree with you 100%. I think the Sixers won this. The only caveat I have to that is giving up Seth Curry. So, Zoe P, there was some big time
trade week,
big time trades in the NFL. One that I'm drooling over. The other one not so much. I'm just happy that we own this quarterback. Well, my team that is owned this quarterback while he was in the NFC East. First, let's talk about this trade. Russell Wilson has been traded to the Denver Broncos. And the question around the world is, does this move make the AFC West the toughest division in football? Now, keep in mind, AP, who the quarterbacks are in the AFC West. You got Pat Mahomes.
Write these down.
You have Derek Carr. You have Justin Herbert. Now you have Dangeruss Russell Wilson playing for Denver. So now you have these teams. So you have 4 teams with quarterbacks at least in the top 10. All of them are in the top 10. They carry 4 spots alone.
Right.
4 teams, top 10 quarterbacks. The Chiefs don't have a defense. The Chargers do. They acquired Khalil Mack, by the way. Chargers did acquire Khalil Mack. So they have Khalil Mack because Denver traded for Russell Wilson. They would have got Khalil Mack.
Had to get some budget. Had to make some room.
You know what I'm saying? They was like, yo, we got Russell Wilson. We got to play twice a year. We already play Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert and Derek Carr. Are you serious right now? And they went out and they got Khalil Mack. This is what every single team in the AFC West is going to do. And the thing is that we know that going all in works. Look at the LA Rams, Super Bowl champs. They went and got a quarterback. They already had an established running game. Their defense has been top 5 for the past 3-4 years. They already had an offensive or a wideout group that was special. They brought in Odell Beckham Jr. You look at these moves. This is the game plan that every team is going to copy from this point forward. Why? Because when you have a division like the AFC West, you have to be able to stop that. You have to. You have to. So the AFC West being the toughest division in football, it's an easy no-brainer for me. NFC West and AFC West, 2 toughest divisions in the NFL right now. And the NFC West isn't really because of quarterback play. It's just because of how well they coach in the NFC West. Denver on the other, the AFC West, they have coaching, quarterbacks, and more. So I just think that it's going to be highly competitive, ultra competitive, and I think it's going to be a fun watch for sure. I cannot wait to see Russell Wilson in Denver. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it was probably extremely unexpected. Even though there's been some talks, Russell was trying to move around as far as like coming out of last season. We do know that there have been minor discussions, but he also talked about winning another Super Bowl with the Seahawks. So I didn't see it coming. So when they announced it, it completely threw me off, because even if he were to trade, I did not see the Denver Broncos being where his new home would be. I thought maybe the Washington. I know that there was some talks there, and but honestly, I think that the AFC West making this, Russell coming to Denver and the AFC West being the toughest. I mean, with those names that you just named, it's hard to not believe that that's the case. I mean, the top, you can't substitute quality quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Especially with the class that's coming out now in this recruiting class. And there's just not, I mean, that's the issue right now in the NFL, is that the one thing that they're short is good quarterbacks. It's been shuffling since this season, and I don't think that they're done, because even going into next season, coming out in the draft, I don't think that there's a lot of quarterbacks that's even being talked about. So the only way to really get something is to dig one of these veterans and make them the star. So yeah, the AFC West, they cooking right now for sure.
Yeah, and you made a valid point. These quarterbacks are moving like crazy. Earlier, it was reported that the Vikings possibly will shop Kirk Cousins at the end of the day. So, I mean, like you said, I mean, these teams are moving or picking up and moving off of these quarterbacks quickly. And just like the Indianapolis Colts, moving on to the next trade, like they did with Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz was with the team for 1 season. And first, let me just say this. Let me get this off my chest, because all you people out there that ever said that Carson Wentz was better than Dak Prescott, yeah, Dak hasn't been traded twice.
Right.
I'm just saying, you can't say it. And guess what? Carson Wentz is back in that same division, the NFC East, where Dak Prescott has owned him since they both came into the league. I don't want to hear no more Dak slander. Somebody commented on my Facebook earlier this week talking about Dak is trash. I was like, he's not trash. Come on, bro. Like, come on. That's complete. That take has no substance. Don't tell me somebody's trash. Provide context as to why he's trash. Because if you look at the numbers, Dak is not trash. And you can't call professional athletes trash. I don't know. But anyways, Carson Wentz, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. When we start talking about my quarterback, I get kind of hypey. You know what I'm saying? You know how.
So I ain't say nothing. That's why I stepped back. Let me get out this man's way. He got something to say.
See the eyes get bulged and, get serious. Oh, he's serious now. You know what I'm saying? But nah. But with Carson Wentz being traded to Washington, I think this is more of an indictment on Carson Wentz than it is on Washington, because we know that the Commanders are super desperate at this point. The ownership is not great. I'll rephrase.
He's about to say, you trying to be nice today, Jay?
I caught myself. It's Friday. You know what? I'm in jammies, a do-rag, white tee. I'm chilling, bro. Like, hey, I'm kind of loose. But their ownership group is not great. Their head coach he's been to the Super Bowl. He went with the Panthers. I like Ron Rivera, but the culture is not great. This is kind of like a Band-Aid. This is a Band-Aid to a culture that's not a winning culture. Can Carson Wentz change that? No, he couldn't even change that with the Colts.
Right.
So, and plus you got to play Dallas twice. Plus you got to play the Eagles twice. Both playoff teams. Then you got to play the Giants, who may be a playoff team this year with their new head coach and possibly a new quarterback coming in. So, what is Washington actually doing? Did they get better? I don't think so. I think that they got somebody who has the stats, has the accolades, but hasn't proven it for 5 years. I don't care how many times. You know how much I hear about that 2017 season with Carson Wentz, AP? Oh, well, he was an MVP that one year. He should have won MVP the year they won the Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl without him. What does that say? What does that mean? How do you train? You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be an answer to what the Commanders are having to deal with, and Wentz isn't good enough to cover up those blemishes where Washington lacks. So I'm not excited about this move. I really feel bad for the guy. He's been traded twice in his career, and he's struggling to find a home. I think he'll be looking next year as well.
Yeah, I really think that Wentz going to the Commanders is just a placeholder. A courtesy spot, if you will. I mean, they need somebody. The Commanders, as we know, and this is my first time calling them the Commanders, because all year I couldn't get a handle on them not being the other name. Yeah. But anyway, they've been riddled with issues. If it's not the back office, it's the coaching. If it's not the coaching, it's the players. I mean, they've had some issues in the last 3 years, and now getting wins. I'm not saying that it's not going to help them. I think that he does have the ability, but it's the consistency that he lacks, especially down the home stretch. And that's when he's needed most. And that's what he has not been able to provide, which is why the Colts gave him the boot. And I don't know, but the boot.
The boot.
We do not need the wins. From whence came the wins. But I mean, they didn't need him. So I mean, I don't think that the Commanders are gonna really make any major movement now that they got Wentz.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. But again, no, I'm not. That didn't perk up my ears at all when I heard it. I was just like, oh, okay, they got rid of that guy.
Yeah. Ugh. Man, I mean, I just don't get it. I don't see the infatuation with this guy. I get he has all the intangibles or all the tangibles, everything that you see that you want a quarterback to look like, as Colin Kaepernick talked about in his special, what you want the guy to look like. I get that. But come on, man. Consistency is what counts. No one cares about what you look like and how I may project how you see. We don't care about that. We care about performance. We care about production. We care about results. That is it. That is it. So we've been talking some sports here. It's kind of time to cross over into some life, because this is a sports life culture podcast, and there have been some things that have happened that are unfortunate, really unfortunate, terribly unfortunate, to this said person, and that person is Brittney Griner. As you all know or may know, she was detained in Russia for carrying a significant amount of cannabis oil and narcotics. And U.S. officials say her path to her release is a delicate one. And AP, you had some very, very interesting thoughts, some great thoughts, I thought, whenever you posted on Facebook. I was like, hell yeah, that's dope. So I want you to elaborate on some of the, like, how you see this, what you think about this, what it makes you think about this whole thing going on with Russia, but not only with Russia, but also what's going on in the United States presently.
Yeah, absolutely. And first and foremost, I mean, it hits very close to home. You know, Brittney Griner is Baylor's own. She's right here from Central Texas. I've been in spaces with her. I don't know her personally, but I know people who know her very personally. So it's been a lot of conversations that have been real delicate. And you know, just on my personal feed, just because people who I know actually know her. So it's just surreal to kind of see something like this happen. You don't really think that in 2022 that things like this are occurring. And when I say things like this, I'm gonna expound on that. So there's a couple things that we need to know about the situation. We don't know when she was detained. To date, we have not been given, hey, February 15th, you know, Brittney Griner got arrested, or hey, you know, the March 1st. Only thing we know is that sometime in February she was detained. Russia's not giving out any information in terms of like specifics on the amounts that she was charged with, the specifics on what she was charged with. I mean, there's been things going. It was hashish oil, actual cannabis oil. The most recent report I saw was CBD oil. No one is giving any specifics on what she's being charged for. We know what her charges are. They're trying to, you know, tag her with trafficking. I think they're trying to say that she's like smuggling, not trafficking, smuggling, that she's trying to smuggle like a significant amount in, like, which we have not been given the amount, right? So typically when these things happen, let's just say in the US, right, they say, hey, Johnny got caught with 100 kilos of cocaine at the border on Tuesday. You know, it's very specific, but we're literally pulling straws trying to figure out the who's, the what's, the when's, the where's, and the how's. Even on the video that is skeptic to me, they show her walking into the airport and putting her bags on the little conveyor belt. And then we see a separate clip without, I mean, we really don't see her. We kind of see like an arm and maybe like that could be her back or her hair or whatever. And then we see a duffel bag and they're pulling out items. They're not opening it. They're not showing us what they see. They're just showing that there's packages in a duffel bag, which I didn't see her put on the conveyor belt. So we don't know if, you know, they brought it from TSA or how it was discovered. There's been literally no details given. And that's what's scary with the current state of our nation, you know, trying to play sides or, you know, play this assistive role to Ukraine while Russia and Ukraine are at odds right now. It makes us it makes this situation extremely delicate, because typically, you know, if we was really trying to get it, you know, we do a little espionage, we go over there in the heat of the night and, you know, with some stealth bombers and we'd snatch her up. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the capability to do that. But right now, Russia's already making threats about, you know, nuclear war and all this kind of stuff, and adverse consequences, you know, without saying what they are. So literally right now, she is being used. I mean, I'm not going to say she's being used as a pawn, because they haven't played a card yet. They're not even making a demand. They're not giving us any information. And in my opinion, that's the scariest thing that can happen. I would feel a lot more comfortable if Russia would at least come to the table and say, "Hey, we got your player. We got your player. We need this. Give us this person and y'all can have her back." Something, but they're not even coming to the table. I think that she is going to be, unfortunately, used as some type of bargaining chip in all of this. I don't know how or when, but Putin has not been quiet about his disdain for homosexuality and, race as a whole. He hasn't fared too lightly on just the Black community. So I mean, she's three things that really makes her a target. She's a Black wealthy lesbian in a whole nother country. Now I want to put a pause there on the word wealthy. My biggest issue, or not my biggest issue, but one of the things that sparked from all of this, which is actually good conversation, is the pay gap for WNBA players. The reason she's in Russia is because she's playing for a team that she's played for since 2014. So I want to put that out there. She is no stranger to Russia. Russia is very well aware of her presence in their country, and that also makes this whole thing a little bit more uncomfortably timely. Like they knew she was there, and they knew how long she would be there. So it's kind of like a weird space where we don't know if this is planted, if this is real, how much of this is true. We will have no way of knowing because of the way that Russia's legal structure works. But the fact that as a championship veteran WNBA player, she's just making $220,000, give or take, 227, I think. That's her salary. Man. And she's having to go to Russia to play for, I mean, they're paying well, like around $1 million for a season during their off season. But why do women in the WNBA have to work this hard to close that wage gap? I looked it up. The lowest paid player in the NBA to date is I forgot his name, Derek somebody or something like that. Johnson. 93, let's just round up, $93,000 is his rookie introductory salary. Oh, wow. The highest paid base player right now is Steph Curry. He's making about 43 million. Ask me how much the highest paid WNBA player is making, just for poops and giggles.
How much?
229.
Oh, wow.
And that's was it Teresi?
Diana Taurasi?
Yeah, and that's her.
Wow.
And we know what she's done for the game. We know how long she's been playing, and she's not touching she's not touching $500,000. No. I mean, we're not talking endorsements and all of that. But the biggest conversation that's come out of this, other than just the safety and security of bringing Brittney Griner home as soon as possible. I mean, she has a wife and family that I know is probably going nuts right now. I cannot imagine how this would, how I would feel. But other than that, the conversation around this wage gap is becoming a thing. And I do hope to see some change in the near future, because she should have never had to go there.
Right.
Just to make money. And I know that was my rant, but I just wanted to fill y'all in because it's a lot going on. Yeah. It is delicate.
It is very delicate. And I think you put everything, you eloquently said everything that is fact, and, I'm not going to go into, why Russia might be detaining her. I'm not too sure if it's leverage or what it may be. But what I will say is you're right, 100%. There is a disparity amongst professional athletes when it comes to men and women. Women don't get paid as near as much as the worst NBA player does, and they could be the best at their sport. I think in a capitalist society where you say that we're paying young individuals to play professional sports, one side is getting this and the other is not, everybody should be equal. You know what I'm saying? Like, NBA has Supermax contracts. What about the WNBA? I get, the typical argument is, AP, when people start talking about pay for women, people say put butts in the seats.
Put butts in the seats.
I get that, right? Ticket sales make money. TV deals make money. But you know what? So does great ownership. So does great marketing for that said team. It shouldn't be solely on the shoulders of these young women to create income or revenue, right?
Yeah.
We're the product. But let's not get it twisted here. We're not the end all be all money game in this league. And if we are, maybe we should start a different league. Maybe we should look into a different collective bargaining agreement, because based on what we are being paid, we're not being paid fairly.
Right.
I believe that 100%. I'm all about that. I believe in fair pay, especially when it comes to professional sports. It doesn't matter what type of draw that you get. That only matters with pay-per-views and boxing and MMA. Mm-hmm. It shouldn't matter in the NBA, the NFL, MLS, the women's soccer league. It shouldn't matter. Just like an NIL deal for a female collegiate athlete. It shouldn't matter. If the guy can make $150,000, so should the woman. Right? We live in a capitalistic society. That's essentially what it should be. So I'm glad you pointed that out. I think that's a great point. And yeah, I mean, prayers to the Griner family, man. I pray that she makes it back, and you know, she comes back home to her wife and her kids, and you know, I'm wishing the best for them, 100%. It's very, very sad. I don't know what I would do. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't know what I would do if it was me. So, you know, prayers to them, man. Prayers to them. So, AP, the last time we were on the airwaves, something happened. We saw a wonderful YouTube video.
The slap heard around the world.
You know what? I think I figured out what happened. You know, I think that coach from Wisconsin said, yo, Juwan, I got some barbecue that will make you want to smack your mama. And Juwan was like, what? Bah!
Smack your mama. How about that?
Smack your mama. We know you boil your meat. You don't grill it.
That's how you get that tender taste.
Yeah. Why are they so tender? What? Like, why are sausages tender? Shouldn't they be grilled? You don't boil sausages, fam. All right, you put them on the grill, unless you want a hot dog. Okay, a hot dog with some mustard. Okay. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
That's personal opinion. You know, every now and then I might boil a little something, throw it on the grill just to quicken it up.
I do it. Hey,
free game though, free game. If you have never tried it, you should try it.
You boil your meat.
Boil some chicken.
Yeah,
boil some chicken, and then fry that chicken.
Ooh, that probably does good. That does probably good.
When I tell you that thing is moist, you want to do it.
I'm gonna take your word for that,
especially in the air fryer. I never tried it in grease. I just want to put it out
in the bag. I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah, we digress. But Juwan Howard is now holding himself accountable for his actions after being suspended for the remainder of the collegiate season for hitting that Wisconsin assistant coach. And I'm here to tell you, AP, real quick too, because this is just a bullet point I saw. I was like, man, you know what? Juwan Howard is a big man. You know what I'm saying? And he is a respectful guy. He's an integrity guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not about the shenanigans. You know, he's about respect. He's about integrity. And this just proves all the people who were like going ham on him for doing it. Oh, this is just egregious. This can't be in college basketball. He needs to be fired immediately. It's like, bruh, like people get second chances all the time. In the heat of the moment, especially when you're being stopped like you're somebody's kid in the middle of a handshake line, in the heat of the moment, emotions happen. Things happen. Hands fly. People get slapped. People get punched. It happens. It happens. But we cannot be so quick to indict the person who caused the action. We cannot be so quick to shun that said person and say, oh, he should be fired immediately. It should be like, okay, well, let's give this guy a chance. Let's give him a chance to come out and say something. Allow him to put a logical thought together and allow him to apologize. It's perfect. It's perfect. Why not? You know, Juwan Howard, he's like, all right, I'm sorry. I hold myself fully accountable. I know what I did was wrong. It shouldn't have took place there. It was in the heat of the moment. It was a bang situation, and things went down. I apologize. Now, can we move on with the college basketball season? Because the assistant coach is obviously not hurt. He's not in the hospital. Let's get over this and let's move on. Right? That's what it should be. And I applaud Juwan Howard for taking this stance and just being the bigger man in this. You know, just saying, okay, against all things, against all haters, I'm still going to be the bigger man, and I am going to hold myself accountable to the fullest extent, regardless. So he gets an applause from me, AP.
Same. I mean, you do wrong, you make it right. And in this situation, when you slap a fella, it's not a whole lot more you can do other than be, my bad. I was acting out of character. Yeah. Won't happen again. I mean, he's been suspended. What else can we do for him? He shouldn't lose his job. I mean, his track record and his legacy is gonna go far beyond this slap. So yeah, shout out to Juwan Howard for doing the manly thing. And he's probably done more than what the Wisconsin coach has done, because I doubt that any of them have taken accountability for the preceding actions that took place that caused said slap. I mean,
Tell them again, AP. I don't think they heard you.
For the people in the back.
I haven't heard nothing from the Wisconsin head coach or the Wisconsin assistant. I haven't heard nothing since he apologized and held himself accountable. I haven't heard nothing. We appreciate it. Thank you. They're in the Big Ten tournament. We still haven't heard nothing.
Mm-mm.
So who was really at fault here? That's all I'm saying. I'm trying to be messy.
Yeah, whoever smelt it dealt it. You know what I mean?
Hey, you see what I'm saying? For real, that rule applies in every part of your life.
Yeah.
It's life advice. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk. All right, AP. So we did touch on this topic with Andre's mailbag submission. Mm-hmm. But very quickly, because we got to get to your top 5 NBA teams at the end of the show. So how are we feeling about the Lakers? They currently sit at 28-37, and they're in the 9th spot. What do we think here? What are we thinking?
We think that it might be curtains for the Lakers. Again, and I mentioned it earlier, is there a possibility that they could make the playoffs? So there is a possibility. And when I say a possibility, about a 7% possibility based off of pretty much all reports, based off of their current standing and who they have to play in these next 17 games. The likelihood is hella slim. Mm-hmm. Can they make it to the play-in tournament? They can. Like, that's if they continue, if they stay where they are right now. If they fall below the 10th spot, mind you, they're 9th. If they slip any lower, they cannot afford to slip any lower, and they have the toughest. They have the toughest schedule for any other team in the NBA, and everybody that they're playing. And I might have to verify this. So I'm gonna say this loosely. I'm gonna rephrase that. Most of the teams that they're playing currently outrank them. Quite a few teams currently outrank them. So good. I mean, realistically, I don't see it happening. They really got to get it together. Russell Westbrook is going to have, I mean, he doesn't want people playing with his name. He's going to have to make them put some respect on his name. That's got to happen in order for them to make it to the playoffs or even compete in the play-in. Davis, we're probably not going to see him at all. So, I mean, realistically, it's going to be him and LeBron. Westbrook and LeBron are going to have most of the weight on their shoulders. Everybody else that they brought in to do the work for this super team, they're not even in the conversation. Nope. We just need the main 2 people to show up and show out and produce. Otherwise, shouts out to the Lakers. Thank you for showing up, and I hope you got your keychain on the way out the door.
Hey, well said, AP. Well said. You know what I got to say about this?
Speak.
It's too late to turn back now. I believe I'm not making the playoffs. It's too late to turn back now.
Right.
It's over. It's a wrap. It's definitely a wrap. I don't have much to say about that. I mean, I feel for LeBron James. I mean, those reports about him possibly going back to Cleveland and maybe moving to where his son will eventually play, starting to look more real than it's starting to look authentic here. It looks like that's what's really going to happen because they're not going to win nothing. They're not going to win.
I honestly do not see him staying in the Lakers. I don't know what that contract looks like, but yeah. I hope that the Lakers use this offseason to really make some changes. They didn't really do a lot in this current trade situation. They're still kind of sitting where they've been sitting, and I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't take the opportunity to peak up like everybody else was trying to do. Maybe they just didn't have enough pieces to move, but yeah, I'm praying for the Lakers.
Pray. I'm not. They're not making it. I'm not going to waste my time here. I'm not going to waste good words to God. No,
I'm not going to waste your time, Jesus. Don't mind me just
Lord,
stopping by.
I come to you right now, and I'm not wasting no time on the Lakers, Father. I actually came to you to ask you to bless this food that we are about to keep them completely out the equation. All right, AP. All right, so I know you got some good stuff for us for your top NBA teams. So here we go. It is time for AP's top 5 NBA teams. Let's get it.
All right. Our top 5 right now going into this last week, and this is coming into the week. So keep in mind a couple games have been played. This is the most recent power rankings from the Bleacher Report. So I'm going to give it to you raw. I'm going to go 5 up. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, let's start at the bottom. And this is overall. So starting at number 5 right now, we got your Milwaukee Bucks. Number 4, Golden State Warriors. We still in there. They have slipped, but Golden State Warriors is still there. Our Memphis Grizzlies sitting at a strong number 3. They're not going anywhere. We will see them in the playoffs. Miami, they still hot. They number 2. And the Phoenix Suns have been holding down this number 1 spot. They are about they're about a +7 games right now. So it's going to be difficult for anybody to knock them out of that playoff. Not difficult, likely impossible for anybody to knock them out of that playoff contention. And we're going to see some good basketball because with just those 5 teams, oh my God, great basketball. And when we start breaking up the East and the West, I mean, the West is strong. Half of these teams, if not most of them, the Suns, Grizzlies, Golden State, all of them are that's your top 3 in the West right there. So, I mean, other than Miami coming from the East, the West is controlling the overall the playoff picture right now. So we will see some great basketball. It's really showing what these what the actual playoffs are going to look like. And I'm seeing possibilities for the West to go home with the win. We'll see who is going to be actually competing for it, but the West is strong right now. Yeah. They're doing numbers.
So 2 teams I'm super excited about. Well, 3. I have to mention my Mavericks. They're surging late. They're doing well, and Luka is playing out of his mind.
They're top 5 in the West. They made it.
Luka dunked on somebody the other night, like caught a rebound and dunked it on somebody. Luka Doncic hasn't done that since he's been in the NBA. People need to understand that he is ascending. Number 2, I got to give it up to Ja Morant and those Grizzlies. Ja Morant is incredibly special, and I said it when he was first drafted. I said he's going to be better than Zion Williamson, and boy, he is better than Zion Williamson off the rip, 100%. And number 1, the Phoenix Suns never disappoint. Love Devin Booker, love Chris Paul, love that squad. I love what Monty Williams has done. I love what James Jones, the former champion or the NBA champion who played with the Miami Heat with LeBron James, put together that entire roster, and now they are one of the best teams in the NBA. I'm excited about the NBA playoffs, AP. I hope you are as well. We're almost there. We got March Madness coming around the corner. We got tons of basketball. Speaking of March Madness, we will host our first ever bracket challenge for Notes by Notes. Just like we did the Fantasy Football League, we will have limited spots for the people who want to do the ESPN, or not the ESPN bracket challenge, but our bracket challenge. Sorry, I just thought about it. Like I was watching college basketball here. I saw bracket. So our bracket challenge, and we'll put that information on our Facebook page very soon. So be on the lookout for that. AP, do you got any final thoughts before we head out of here on the 20th edition of Notes by Notes?
No, man. I think we can close the door on number 20, and next week we'll be old enough to drink.
Hey, no more fake ID to get the alcohol. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You hating outside the club. You can't even get in.
You can't get in. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes, sir.
Well, before I let you guys go, don't forget to hit up our friends over at A to Z for Skin and Hair. Check out all of their products like their rice water, their moisturizing hair butter, and their Gang Gang beard oil. Their phone number to hit is 469-674-5567. Once again, that's 469-674-5567. Let them know that the crew at Notes by Notes sent you so you can get the hookup. You know, the hookup.
The hook.
The hook.
You gotta hit. There you go. It's like hawk, but hook.
The hook. The hook. Oui. All right, y'all. So that's it for the 20th edition of Notes by Notes. We will see you guys on the 21st edition of Notes by Notes next week. We appreciate you guys for listening. We are out of here. Peace.